höher. And make it like this one.
Free Julian Assange! Or as Julian would used to say, we are all individuals. Do you remember this joke from Monty Python? Okay, thanks for the masks. Please stay behind the stage and we will soon start. Speak in German. My name is Srećko Horvat. I'm the co-founder of DiEM25, Democracy in Europe movement, which is, beside Demokratie in Europa, the main organizer of this event today. The court hearing in London is just about to start. We are also just about to start. We are thankful for everyone for coming here, and I will immediately pass the word to Lauren, who will moderate the event today and announce all the speakers who will be speaking with us today.
Hello, my name is Julian. I'm a member of the board of Demokratie in Europa. This protest is organized by DiEM25 and its electoral wing here in Germany, Demokratie in Europa. And we are running in the European elections with our frontrunner Yanis Varoufakis to prevent exactly the things that are now happening to Julian. Our first speaker is Esteban Servat. He's a biologist and founder of EcoLeaks, through which he exposed the dangers of a fracking project in his home region in Mendoza, Argentina. Please, Esteban.
Thank you everybody for coming. I just came here from Argentina, as Lauren was saying, where we created EcoLeaks, inspired by Julian Assange and WikiLeaks' work on freedom of information, which has created really a revolution, and this is why they want to extradite him for the US. This is not because of any rape allegations or any other of the smear campaigns that we have been seeing for the last 8 years on the media against him, and it's a reason why they're trying to alienate public support from him to put him away in the US to languish in jail for the rest of his life. This is the most prominent journalist in world history who has done the most for humanity and for the freedom of information, exposing war crimes from the most powerful state that has ever existed, which is conducting a lot of crimes worldwide, and we need to expose them. So that's why we need to defend him here right now. EcoLeaks, what we created, which is inspired on WikiLeaks, revealed a secret study in Argentina about the environmental impacts of fracking, and this helped us build the world's largest movement against fracking, and it really led to a lot of persecution of myself. This is why I had to exile, and I'm here right now. And but this only shows how many things can spring out of what Assange paved the way for, and that's why we need to defend him, and that's why we need to carry on with the work and the legacy that he started. So thank you for coming here.
Thank you, Esteban. Our next speaker is Annegret Falter. She's a journalist and member of the jury of the Whistleblower Award of the Federation of German Scientists. Please, Annegret.
Ja. Okay. Wenn das Volk was nicht wissen darf, dann gibt es dafür meistens Gründe, aber meistens keine guten Gründe. So muss seit März die CIA nicht mehr jährlich veröffentlichen, wie viele Zivilisten sie bei Drohnenangriffen getötet haben. Die Hinrichtung von vermeintlichen Terroristen ohne rechtsstaatliches Verfahren wurde bereits unter der Obama-Administration betrieben. Jetzt bleiben die Kollateralschäden, ich brülle schon, noch lauter?
Nee, das Mikrofon näher ran.
Ist das nicht an?
It is, but it doesn't go loud.
Okay, I'll do my best. Jetzt bleiben die Kollateralschäden wieder geheim. Die Tötung von Zivilisten hält die US-Regierung überhaupt gern geheim. Die jahrelange Lüge der Bush- und Obama-Regierung, dass ihr keine Zahlen über die zivilen Opfer des Irakkrieges vorlägen, wurden erst durch die Veröffentlichung der US Diplomatic Cables bei WikiLeaks aufgedeckt. Es waren mehr als 66.000, mehr als die Hälfte aller Opfer. Die letzte Dekade ist weltweit gekennzeichnet von Angriffen auf Menschenrechte und Verstößen gegen das Völkerrecht. Sie ist auch gekennzeichnet durch die Zunahme von Geheimhaltung. Andererseits ist Geheimhaltung aufgrund der digitalen Möglichkeiten sehr viel schwieriger geworden. Kein Politiker, kein DAX-Vorstand kann mehr sicher sein, dass tatsächlich geheim bleibt, was von öffentlichem Belang wäre und er oder sie dringend geheim halten möchten, dank WikiLeaks. Mit WikiLeaks und Julian Assange wurden die Möglichkeiten, die das Internet bietet, konsequent in den Dienst von Transparenz gestellt. Jeder und jede kann Dokumente anonym schicken, sie werden geprüft und kontextualisiert, aber nicht zensiert. Benutzer der Seiten können darunter finden, was sie wissen wollen, dank einer ausgefeilten Suchtechnik. Pannen wurden nicht bekannt und ich sage das hier ausdrücklich. Personen kamen nicht zu Schaden entgegen aller verbreiteten Propaganda. Die 700.000 Dokumente bei WikiLeaks, die dort dank des Whistleblower Chelsea Manning 2010 veröffentlicht werden konnten, darunter das Video Collateral Murder über die Tötung eines Dutzend Zivilisten und Journalisten durch eine feixende Helikoptercrew, bewirkten geradezu einen Dammbruch. Es folgten die Enthüllungen von Edward Snowden, die Panama Papers, LuxLeaks und hunderttausende anderer Dokumente, Informationen, die in Politik und Wirtschaft unter scheinbar hermetischem Geheimhaltungsschutz standen. Sie gelangten zunehmend an die Öffentlichkeit. Will jemand hier ernsthaft bestreiten, dass die Veröffentlichung der oben genannten Informationen im öffentlichen Interesse lag, in unser aller Interesse? Aber deswegen und nur deswegen wird Julian Assange gejagt. Wurde Chelsea Manning während ihrer Haft und während ihres Kriegsgerichtsprozesses unfassbar gedemütigt und Edward Snowden vertrieben. Dabei geht es nur vordergründig um die Diskreditierung und Zerstörung sowohl von Julian Assange als Person, wie auch von WikiLeaks als journalistischem Medium. Es geht um Einschüchterung und Abschreckung von Whistleblowern und Journalisten. Die Einsicht ist inzwischen weit verbreitet. Aber warum dieser Furor und warum dieser ganze Aufwand? Im Kern geht es um die Bewahrung von Herrschaftsgeheimnissen. I'm sorry. Die Geheimhaltung ist es, die in demokratischen Staaten der Legitimation bedarf, nicht die Meinungsfreiheit. Es ist an uns zu verhindern, dass unser aller Grundrechte auf Information und freie Meinungsäußerung nicht weiter eingeschränkt werden. Wir müssen laut anprangern, worum es wirklich geht. Nicht um einzelne Whistleblower und Journalisten. Es geht um die Möglichkeiten der Täuschung, der Verschleierung, der Fake News. Um die Möglichkeit zur störfallfreien Geheimhaltung. Es ist an uns, Geheimhaltung immer wieder öffentlich zu hinterfragen und zu delegitimieren. Geheimhaltung delegitimieren. Assange ist kein Whistleblower, er ist Journalist. Diese Rollen werden gern vermengt. Genießt der Journalist doch deutlich mehr Schutz als der Whistleblower und hat seinerseits ein Recht auf Informantenschutz. Aber auch die Journalisten sind ein Dorn im Auge unserer Geheimnisträger. Auch die Pressefreiheit ist gemeint, wenn Assange weggesperrt wird. Schon 2010 veröffentlichte WikiLeaks lustigerweise eine Art Brainstorming-Papier der CIA, in dem es darum ging, wie man WikiLeaks am besten unglaubwürdig und löcherlich machen könnte, wie man Assange eine Falle stellen, zum Beispiel falsche Dokumente unterjubeln könnte. Es ist müßig, darüber zu spekulieren, wie weit die Amerikaner oder ihre Verbündeten in der Folge gegangen sind, um diesem Ziel näher zu kommen. Aber es ist an uns zu verhindern, dass sie es nun durch Auslieferung von Assange an die USA tatsächlich erreichen.
Vielen Dank. Our next speaker is Malte Sundermann, a German actor and DiEM25 supporter, who will read out a letter by Yanis Varoufakis, co-founder of DiEM25.
Julian Assange is wasting in Britain's Guantanamo for one reason and one reason only. Because he dared create the WikiLeaks infrastructure that allowed Chelsea Manning and other courageous whistleblowers to let you know of the crimes against humanity that your governments have been committing in your name. I urge you, whatever you think of Julian, to help stop his extradition into America's internal Guantanamo prison system. Friends, citizens of civilized Europe, in the 1930s, Mussolini's government imprisoned Antonio Gramsci because, as the fascist prosecutor said, Gramsci's voice had to be silenced. In the 1960s, the Nixon government tried to silence Dan Ellsberg by imprisoning him for letting your parents know of the crimes committed in Vietnam. Today in Brazil, former President Lula is imprisoned by neo-fascist Bolsonaro to silence his voice, and with it that of tens of millions of progressive Brazilians. As we speak, Donald Trump is in the process of silencing forever your voice, of plugging your ears, of blinding you to the truth by throwing Julian in a supermax prison. You have a duty to yourself. You have a duty to European civilization. You have a duty to the world. You must help us end Julian Assange persecution.
Thank you. Our next speaker is someone who is already on this stage, Srečko Horvat.
Thanks a lot. As an homage to a man with a great sense of humor, let me first say that when Julian Assange was still free, he held a speech in front of Occupy London where he made a brilliant joke. I guess most of you watched Life of Brian by Monty Python. If you don't know what Julian did, go to YouTube and watch it. It's really funny. He said, "We are all individuals." And then most of the people who were gathered here, like in Monty Python, repeated after Julian. But let me say, this today is not a joke. We are not all individuals. We are all Julian Assange, not because Julian Assange is in Belmarsh prison in a British Guantanamo. We are all Julian Assange because something much more than just an individual is in danger here. What is endangered with Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning in prison is our collective right to know, not more, not less. We are here today in front of the Brandenburger Tor because something much more than just an individual is in danger. Yes, a human being with a great sense of humor and a great sense for justice is in prison. But what is really in danger here is the very foundation of our democracy, namely the freedom of press. As long as Julian Assange is in this or any other prison, to paraphrase a speech which Ronald Reagan gave just in front of this Brandenburger Tor in 1987, it is not only the German question that remains open, but the question of freedom for all mankind. What is the German question? The German question is the question whether Germany will stand up and take its historical role in protecting whistleblowers, publishers, and the freedom of speech. How would you know that the NSA and the US government, by the way, hello to the US Embassy who can hear us here, how can you know that the US government and the NSA spied on the German government, the German institutions, and on the German citizens if there wasn't the revelations of Edward Snowden? How would you know about all the crimes committed in our names if there weren't the billions of leaks published by WikiLeaks? Why is it illegal to reveal secrets, but it is still legal to undermine democracy? What happened to Chelsea Manning when she rejected to testify against WikiLeaks? 56 days ago, she disappeared. Literally. She's still here. Her body is in the prison, in the same way Julian Assange's body and mind is in prison. But the voice of Chelsea Manning is not here today. And the voice of Julian Assange is also not here today. She can't speak, and Julian Assange also at the moment can't speak. This is the reason why we are here today. This is the reason why we are giving the voice to Chelsea Manning, to Julian Assange, and to everything what they present. Do you remember the book by Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451? You probably know most of the topics which occur in the book. You know, people, firefighters who are burning books. But does anyone here remember the end of the movie? Or the book? At the very end of the book and the movie, what happens is that all those people who were reading books, who were using books in order to find out the truth, and also in order to build a better humanity, a better world, hide in a forest. And they hide in a forest, and since there are no books in society anymore, each and one and single of them learns a book by heart. So each person becomes a book. In a situation in which people like Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden cannot be with us today here, we have to become Julian Assange. We have to become Chelsea Manning. We have to become Edward Snowden and talk instead of them thinking what they would talk. Because this is just the start of a very long battle for freedom of press. If Julian Assange is extradited to the United States, they will come after you, they will come after you, they will come after everyone. And there will be no one else to speak in your name anymore. In the end, to quote a great German poet, Hölderlin, it might be a sad moment that we are here, but it's not a sad moment. We can see many people here, we can see masks here, we can see many supporters here. But as Hölderlin said, wo aber Gefahr ist, wächst das Rettende auf. It means, even if we are in deep shit, even if our democracies are not democracies anymore, even if institutions represented by the US Embassy, by the UK Embassy which is just there, even if precisely these governments are undermining democracy, there is hope. There is hope as long as we can gather here, as long as we can give a voice to those who don't have a voice anymore. Free Chelsea Manning, free Julian Assange, free all the whistleblowers who are in prison today.
Thank you, Srečko. Now I call to the stage Angela Richter. She's a director and author who worked with WikiLeaks since 2011. She will read a letter by Edward Snowden, which he sent us for this protest.
Hallo Berlin. I want to thank everyone before me who spoke, and there is not so much to add to all the things that were already said on stage. I only want to quote Julian, who has been my friend for the last 10 years, and who has one sentence that he kept repeating. And this is, if wars can be started by lies, peace can be started by truth. And by this maxim, he was always acting. And don't be confused by all the character assassination that you read about him. As a person who knows him, I can assure you most of it is just a big lie. And that's why I also want to quote him again and say that he also encouraged me always by saying, "Courage is contagious." And I'm also very happy to have this letter by another very famous whistleblower who also sacrificed all of his life for us, Edward Snowden. Thank God he is not in prison, but in exile in Moscow. And it is a shame for the free Western world that Putin in Moscow had to give him asylum and no other country in the free West dared to do so. Shame on you! So now I will read you the letter that was given to me on last Friday, and also greetings to all of you who came here today. For years, Julian Assange has warned that the moment he found himself outside political asylum, the government of the United States would demand his imprisonment. Warnings that in each of those years were discounted by his many critics as ridiculous, but today have been shown to be true. By the government's own admission, Assange has been charged for his role in bringing to light true information that exposed war crimes and wrongdoing perpetrated by the most powerful military in the history of the world. The full and single charge for which Assange stands accused is trying, and only trying, to aid the source of many of the last decade's most important stories in preventing her discovery as the only soldier in the United States military at that time brave enough to inform the public about a secret that never should have been hidden in the first place. No one today disputes that the revelations of this source, Chelsea Manning, were news of the highest order. They were immediately carried on the front pages of every newspaper in the world. It is not just one man who stands in jeopardy, but the future of the free press. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you all for coming here today. And remember, this is just the beginning for the fight for Julian Assange. Thank you all.